debuting a new wave. It's called these red slides. These red slides are cheat codes. Basically, if you can answer them, you basically give yourself a cheat code, and that's like the sort of 2.0 of these talks that I'm using. And it's things that I've had to learn. I basically work at a feverish pace in a self-serving way just to find my signature. Like, what's my DNA? Every architect, designer, artist that I look up to, you know, whether they were doing period paintings or buildings in their early career to the end of their career, there's basically a through line. So what I would challenge you in your work, no matter what, is go back. You know, go back to when you were like, your earliest memories, or the way that you thought to organize something, the way you thought to organize your closet, or what colors were your favorite. Back in that sort of like early rationale before you sort of learned too much, that's when your DNA started. You can never predict like what first project is gonna like lead to your like dream job or career goals. And this was my domino effect. I was just really into Caravaggio, like to the point where me as a creative person didn't realize you could invent. And that's what, you know, this painting represents to me. It's, honestly, I just put this up here to have it up at Harvard and someday. Just trying to make this long-winded vibe. But this is like my domino effect. Like, I hadn't ever overthought it. Do you know what I mean? I just made this video, screen printed some shirts, and gave them to friends. And then that's literally why I'm standing here. A random sweatshirt and a photo from a book that I liked. And basically it's a 2-line poem on the back that sort of reads like a jersey. And it's like, it's super seminal for me, and I think it's important. If you, amongst all your studies, amongst like your 9 to 5, all these kids like tuning in on live stream or whatever, like if you just force yourself to do the one project that you believe in and then it exists, that's gonna be the one that's gonna like lead you on your career, not necessarily the practical ones. So that's just a showcase of what, you know, I believe that everyone should do. You also have to have mentors, like dead or alive. You have to sort of connect with some body of work or someone who formulated a thought and an aesthetic, and then build yours upon that. What most people won't tell you is that the people that you look up to didn't invent it themselves. You know, everyone has this sort of like, I call it like getting your brain reprogrammed. Like once you sort of learn a thought process, you can actually see yourself in that and add to it. And so obviously, I have a mentor, I have a sort of thought process and aesthetic that I love, but then once you learn the ethos of why you love the aesthetic, you dig deeper, and then you know how to turn the wheel left or right. So I have mentors that are like dead. I have mentors that are 30 years older than me, but I have mentors that are like 10 years younger than me. Something that was super impactful to me as a Pyrex vision used to be this tumbler that I had that I would photograph. I just trained my eye to be creative, limited to one thing. That's what I'm doing now with the quotes. But it's like I do some random activity that forces your eye to sort of see things that it normally wouldn't. That's for sure how I'm able to sort of like, and I call when I idea and just iterating through like 13 things at one time until I can quickly get to an answer. You can't do that if you're sort of casually being creative. You know, it's like if you have to like sit and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna solve this problem. You have to sort of like intertwine it with how you see the world. Like my friend Piotr, he's like an art director for Off-White, showed me his friend. He's got this Instagram that he photographs like this one designer brand anytime he sees it. So the whole Instagram, so what it's done is it's trained his brain while he's like casually doing something else. If he sees like, oh, a black Chanel bag, like just shoots it. And then all of a sudden it's like this running sort of creative side. And I think if you want to find like new space, if you want to sort of like get to another crescendo of design and having your brain figure out how to aesthetically put together something, you have to do it often. And that's what I found myself. Hey, if I'm asked if there's an opportunity to exist, it's not about building a building, sending a graphic for this, or I only do that. It's like, keep that door open, and then you can make new works of art in different spaces. For me, the number one, before getting into like the nuance, is why. I can think, it's like, why do we love rock and roll graphics or something? Like, why do we love hoodies? Why do we love designer something? And or that sort of gets the first nuance as to like the ethos. Like every mentor I have, or like someone that's passed, I look into their work, it seems like they have like a narrow view, and all the work that you love fits into this view. And I think it's about having a dialogue with why you're making these decisions. There's certain sort of creative things that you decide before you even get to solving it. And that's why it's important to have somebody that you look up to and constantly conversate.